Hello. Today I am going to talk about the whole language, but I want to know if have you ever heard about this approach? Well, I want to tell you that I have never heard about this approach, but I will going to explain in a little easy way what is a language, what is the whole language. So, let me introduce to the topic. As you can see in this image, we have a girl reading. So, what is the language the whole language, says? It says that it reminds is that learning to read English comes naturally to humans, especially young children, in the same way that learning to speak develops naturally. And how come? As we know, children learn by reading and by listening, and when a child is learning, her father or his mother teach them. So when they come to school, children are get accustomed to their environment. For example, the teacher began to explain them or teach them the vowels, and someday the teacher will uh, read a book, so they are listening to the teacher, and at the same time, with with the use of the vowels and the consonant, they began to know how the word function together. So it says also that it is a philosophy uh, that was used in Canada, Great Britain, and also New Zealand. So it was a good approach in those countries. Also, the language approach, it is based on three constructive assumptions. Why? Because people said, or some research says that the language approach is the whole language is a psychology philosophy, and it is based, number one, learning cannot be separated from its content. Why? Because children um, are immersed in their content, so they need to listen, writing, speaking, and reading into the content. Number two, each learner purpose of learning is integral to what is learned. So they are, as I said before, it's an integral, meaningful learning. Why? Because number three said knowledge gained by each learner is socially construed to negotiation, evaluation, or transformation, in which reading, writing, listening, and speaking are integrated. So students are evaluator, are negotiation. So I will continue with the topic. Sorry, because I have some problems with my mouse. So, as we know, you can see the picture of a dog, and it says that the whole language methodology believes that children draw from their perspective and prior experiences to form the framework for new knowledge. How come? Well, as we know, if you show a picture of a dog to a child, that child if that child is constantly um, familiar with the picture, the child will learn, oh, that's a dog, or oh, that's a cat if you show it a cat to him or to her. It says that the teacher role. What is the teacher role? Let me see. The teacher role is to be a facilitator, looks for occurrence of teachable moment, creates a climate that supports collaborative learning, and to be a negotiator. What is the student role? To be a collaborative person, evaluator, self-directed, and selector of material and activities. So I'm going to explain. Sorry, because I have some problems with my mouse. I want to tell you some of the drawbacks that you or me may want to consider with this approach. Is that some children may not be able to spell properly if they do not get proper phonetic instruction. Due to the lack of phonetic knowledge, children will be unable to recognize or read unfamiliar words. Accuracy is often overlooked. The non existent structure makes things difficult for the teacher as they will have to make their own curriculum. And not every child benefits from this approach, as some prefer more organized learning method. Some of the advantages: focus on reading and expressing meaning in writing, emphasizing student interpretation, emphasizing on highly and quality diverse literature, integrating literacy into other areas of the curriculum, frequent reading, a student in a small guide reading groups, reads aloud, and a student independently. Let me show you. The whole language approach is appropriate for elementary school. Well, the teacher implements the theory of the whole language, so reading, writing, listening, and speaking are taught together, writing and in isolation. But as we know, here in our country, students are not accustomed to be involved or to be immersed in a word that includes a second language. So it's it will be kind of difficult, but it's appropriate. But the teacher needs a well structured planning lesson. It says, how effective is the method to provide students with meaningful input? A student learns spoken language to being immersed in a world of log without carefully sequencing instruction. So, for that reason, we need to consider some examples of technique that we can use in the classroom to implement. For example, a student can participate in all language activities, mixed ability, learning strategy, developing in oral language. The student uses his or her developing English in the reading and writing process, and a student learns to speak, read, and write in by being engaged in the process. So that's all for me. Thanks for watching.